Going on, everybody? Carolina Combat back today. Another special guest, Jha'Quan Anderson, three-time NCAA qualifier as well as Southern Scuffle champ for Garner Webb. Jha'Quan, thanks for coming on the show.
Dude, thank you for having me, bro.
Yeah, I mean, let's kind of just speak on the recent things you've been doing. You just tried out for the WWE Summer Slam with WWE. So kind of walk me through that experience and how did that come about?
Bro, that experience was insane. So you cannot recreate that experience, right? It was a 3-day tryout. So we got there last Tuesday. We were there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we everyone left Saturday morning. But talk about like top of the top. Like it was 50 participants there. And I mean, it was former professional athletes, former D1 athletes. There was streamers, content creators, models, like people you wouldn't even think that would be there
Right,
from all
right.
different like, walks of life, bro. Like we had people from Turkey, Sweden, Russia, all over the world. There was some guy there that didn't even speak English. I was like, dude, like how is
Yeah,
he gonna cut his promo? Um, but as far as like how that came about, I just want to start off with kind of explaining like how I got into professional wrestling. Right.
absolutely.
So graduated school last May 2024. And then I moved out to Charlotte because I always knew I wanted to live in Charlotte. Once I moved out to Charlotte, I just so happened to land a job at a new location that had just opened up for my job or whatever.
Right,
Um, the new location just so happened to be like right across the street from a professional wrestling school.
right.
So dude, I'm 24, I'm athletic, I can still go, I can still move. I was like, I need to at least try it because I've been a professional wrestling is like my first memory, bro. So it was like this is something that I should at least try. So got into it and then been professional wrestling like on the like independent circuit, like locally on some shows. I've been doing that for a year now. And then my coach, who's like one of the greatest, man, he wrestled in WCW back in the day. He was a part of Raven's Flock. He's also was in the tag team, the West Hollywood Blondes. But yeah, he's him, bro. He's the GOAT. Like he has a bunch of different connects that he kind of got me connected with and reached out to some guys and put in a good word for me. And it's this guy who's a WWE recruiter for the independent scene. His name's Gabe Sapolsky.
Right.
Um, I got a call from him in this past May. Got a call from him. I was at home and he was like, "Hey," he was like, "Jha'Quan," he's like, "How would you like to come to SummerSlam for a WWE tryout?" I'm like, "Bro, I would love that."
Absolutely.
So yeah, I knew I had a tryout about like 3 months ago. I knew I had it in May, and I spent like the past 2 to 3 months like preparing for pretty much the worst
Right.
because I knew they were gonna put us through it, like try to weed us out. So I spent the past couple months just pretty much getting ready for that.
I know you got to work with like Shawn Michaels. I think you met John Cena. So kind of what was it like just working with, big superstars from the business?
It was insane. So like we're at the tryout. We didn't even know Shawn Michaels was there the first
Right.
day, which I mean, he's the boss of the developmental brand NXT.
Yep.
But we're just walking down the hallway after finishing up lunch. And then, me and the guys are mid conversation, and we look to our right, and then we're like, oh my God. Like we just stopped our conversation. We forgot what we were talking about. And
Right.
then we walk into like the arena and we're like, bro, was that was that who we thought it was? And they're like, bro, that was
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels. And it was crazy, right? Shawn didn't really say too much the entire time. Like, I mean, he's pretty much the boss of NXT. He's scouting like all these guys here. So he was stone faced. They didn't really say much. Like the only time he really spoke was at the end when they had their closing remarks. And he pretty much just gave us more information about, hey, what's to come, what's the follow up. Um, so that was the only time he really spoke. Other than that, like John Cena came in on the very last day. That was like a surprise visit. Like we had no idea John was gonna be there. We were getting warmed up for our session, and then Coach Matt Bloom, who went by A Train in the early 2000s and went by Lord Tensai in the late 2000s, um, he introduced John Cena. John Cena came out, and man, we all crowded him, and he kind of just gave us some words of wisdom. He just let us know he was like, "Hey, man." He remembers being in our shoes, like back in 2002 or the late 90s and getting after it. And he was like, there are three ways that you can not be considered for this business, right?
Right.
And it's being uninteresting, being unreliable, and not being coachable, right? So like, if you are one of those three, it's easier to weed you out,
Right.
right? So be interesting, right? That's one thing for professional wrestling. Be reliable and then be coachable. And then, you can be one of the guys that's in the WWE. So,
Speaking into being interesting, obviously, you had a college wrestling career, but the promos, I mean, I'm sure, like, how do you kind of develop, getting those promo skills sharp for your, pro wrestling?
bro, so that's the hardest part for
Right.
me personally. Like, it's just like, because, like being a D1 wrestler, bro, you don't like try to sell your wrestling match, bro. You just go out
Just
there and scrap. So,
absolutely.
so yeah, bro, like this was like something new for me that I had to kind of like learn to do when I got into pro wrestling. I was like, dude, I gotta like talk about the guy I'm gonna wrestle. That's weird.
Right. Right.
So on the independent scene, I would like to say I didn't really take it that seriously. Like I kind of would just shoot promos because, the promoter needed it and I had to do it. But like I did not take it that seriously. And then once I found out I had this tryout and I was like, oh shoot. I was like, I'm gonna have to cut a promo in front of Shawn Michaels, in front of William Regal, in front of Matt Bloom. I'm gonna have to cut a promo in front of all these guys, and on top of that, I got to cut a promo in front of the other 49 participants. So I was like,
Right.
dude, I gotta buckle down. I gotta start taking it seriously. So, um, it got to a point where the past 2 weeks before the tryout, they got us on a Zoom call and we talked to the head of creative and he kind of let us know, hey, what they're going to be looking for in terms of promo stuff. So I created my own promo, and to get comfortable with just like talking in front of people, I had to go to my school and kind of cut my promo in front of them, right, and kind of just get used to that. And then on top of that, more practice would be I would have one of my coaches like give me an impromptu like topic. Like he would tell me, "Hey, you're gonna cut a promo. You got to wrestle this guy next Thursday. Cut a promo on him. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go." Right. So it's like
Right.
you just got to try to get it in one take. Right. Like it's got to be good and it's got to be entertaining. Um, the best way to do it to cut a promo or like the cookie cutter way of going about it is you want to build your opponent up in the first like half of your promo and then you break them down, right? So you talk
Right.
about their accomplishments, you talk about what they've done or how good they are. But then you go back and you talk about yourself, how good you are and how you're going to beat them coming up this week, right? Because you don't want to talk them down in the beginning. Like if you say, hey, like this guy I'm going against is like he's fat and he's trash,
Right.
it's like, okay, well, what if he beats you? Then you just lost to someone that's fat and trash. What does that make you now?
Right.
So you have to talk your match. You got to make it as something that people want to see, right? Make it entertaining. So, um, that's something that after the tryout, I don't know the decision yet whether I'm gonna
Right.
be a WWE superstar or not, but regardless if I am or not. I'm still going to keep rocking on the independent scene, but what I will do also take is I will take promos more seriously because that's
Absolutely.
something that you're going to have to do if you want to be in the big leagues. You got to be able to talk. You got to be able to cut a promo. You got to be able to do it. And I think amateur wrestlers that transition to professional wrestling have the hardest time doing that.
On your training regiments and I guess your preparation, how are you training? Like, kind of walk me through like your, pro wrestling training, I guess, the best you can. I'm sure every day is a little different.
Yeah, yeah, man. Every day is a little bit different. So, but first when we get into practice, first things first, when we start off by doing rolls. All right.
Right.
So rolls are pretty much like the fundamentals when it comes to professional wrestling. So that's like a left quarter roll, right quarter roll, forward roll, back roll. And for wrestlers, I mean, that's pretty simple and pretty easy.
Right.
Because I
Yeah.
mean, we warm up rolling, right? We warm up tumbling, right? We do forward roll, backward rolls, cartwheels, round offs. So that part came super natural to me when I first started. So that's like the warm up. We do those rolls and then we'll warm up and take like a bump. right? Taking a bump is pretty much learning how to land on the mat, right? So we'll warm up, take a couple bumps, and then after that, it can only be two people in the ring at a time. So practice isn't like like amateur wrestling practice. Like there's a circle here, everyone's going at the same
Right.
time. It's like it's only two people in the ring at a time. So everyone else is on the outside, kind of just watching and waiting to slide in and get their turn. And the first like sequences we usually do when we start and we get in the ring is chain wrestling. So chain wrestling is probably the closest thing that I can compare to amateur wrestling because chain wrestling pretty much is amateur wrestling. It's just play wrestling
Right.
though, because
Right.
you're not trying to beat your opponent. You're trying to work together. But if you are familiar with like wrestling and positions, chain wrestling is gonna come a lot naturally. It's gonna come a lot easier. So yeah, chain wrestling came natural to me just because it's pretty much like a flow. Like that's all it is. You pretty much just get in there and you flow. That's chain wrestling, and then you get the calling spots later and all this stuff. But for the most part, most matches will start off with some chain wrestling.
Understand, you're in the coaching realm a little bit over at Core Wrestling, doing some one-on-ones and other coaching. What's that been like so far? And I guess what's one of the biggest adjustments, I guess, going from athlete to coach?
Um, Actually, it's been really fun, dude. I enjoy it, like being on the coaching side. Um, I've been at Core for a year now, so kind of like the same process of going from going from college to professional wrestling. As soon as I got out to Charlotte, like I was just looking for opportunities to stay in the world of amateur wrestling because I love wrestling, right? And it's a sport that I've been in for 11 plus years. So it's like, hey man, this is at this point, like this is a life skill now, right? Like you
Right.
can't do a do this sport for that long and not give back is what I think. Right. So it's kind of like, hey man, like I want to stay involved in this sport as much as possible that I can. Like as much as my schedule will allow me to, and at the same time, I want to give back to the community as well. So I ended up finding like when I got my job here, I just looked up clubs nearby. The closest club nearby was Core Wrestling. I was in talks with Dark Horse and C2X, but they're a little bit further, and Core is literally like 3 miles from my job. So end up getting in contact with Ryan Camp, who was the head coach at the time, not anymore. And then I talked with him, and then he got me in. I talked with Stan as well. Stan Banks is the owner. Um, and then they both got me in, and I've been there ever since. I pretty much I coach there every Thursday. That's like the only time my schedule like allows me to do something with the club. So every Thursday I lead their practice, which is like their live day. I do some technique there, and then I'll get them into live wrestling. And then I also do private sessions there as well. So whatever kid wants to book a private, I'll get in and do a private with them. Which personally, I love privates, right? Because then I can kind of like gauge. I can kind of get more personal with the kid and get more individualized, and that's fun. But I would say like the biggest adjustment is being in the corner, right? Being in the corner is like a big adjustment because it's like you're not the athlete anymore, but now you're fighting for the athlete. So, yeah, it is almost in a way like it's so much fun because when a kid wins or like when there's a bad call and you got to go argue with the ref and then you guys win that call, it's like you have a hand in this match with this kid. So
Right.
it and you see the work that they put in because you're in there coaching them in the room. So it's rewarding, man. It is rewarding.
On giving back, who's been some of the biggest coaching influences for you personally?
Dude, I could go for days, man. I had so many coaches that helped me out. I would say the biggest coach that helped me out when I was in high school had to be Coach Yates. Coach Yates, Ralph Yates is I like to call him Old Man Yates because he was about like probably he was in his 70s when I was in high school, early 70s. Um, Dude, he would still be in Rockdale's wrestling room, which is my high school. He would still be in there rolling around. Dude, he would get in there and
Wow.
show me some moves sometimes. I'm like, dude, he's moving. But even more importantly, though, his son, Peter Yates. So his son, Peter Yates, was I don't know how many times he All-American, but he All-American at Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech.
He
Yep.
also coached at the club. Yeah, he coached at the club nearby. So, Old Man Yates would take me down to the club whenever his son was there, and then he would pretty much like get me some private sessions with him, and we'd work out all the time. But man, Pete would whoop my tail every day, like relentless. I'm like, Pete, what are we doing, dude? I'm 16,
Right.
bro. I was like, yo, but yeah, Pete, I love Pete Yates, man. He has such a strong hand. Cliff Fretwell as well at the compound, owner of compound, had such a strong hand at like reaching out to coaches, and getting me those connects that I would have never had, if it wasn't for compound, right? Um, trying to think some more. Definitely head coach David Burrows at the time for Rockdale. He played a big hand in like mental toughness, right? Like just like drilling constantly over and over these moves and till we were exhausted, bro. And then pushing us past our limit even when we were exhausted. Love David Burrows. And then Coach Bubba as well, who was also another old coach we had at our school who was also just been at Rockdale forever, and he had a good hand in the same way that Coach Yates did, just really drilling into us. But getting to college, that was a big deal. I would say Daniel Elliott and Scott Mattingly were definitely like the coaches that pushed me over the edge for
Right.
sure. Because I would like to say when I got to college that I was good at wrestling, but I still didn't have like that piece that made
Absolutely.
me a Division I wrestler. And I think Daniel and Scott put that together for me a lot. Scott Manley is now at North Dakota State, but he was my assistant coach for 4 years at Gardner Webb, and he recruited me. I think they were a big piece in that. It's been a key like theme throughout my life that coaches have had a lot more confidence in me than I have had confidence in myself, right? And
Absolutely.
when there are people that have a lot of confidence in you, that pushes you to kind of get more confidence and start to believe in yourself more. Because it's not just on you anymore; it's people that see potential in you. So those coaches had a big hand in that. They saw a lot of confidence in me. They were in my corner. I believed everything they said, and I was ready to get after it. So
Absolutely.
I would definitely say all those coaches had like a big hand for sure.
Spoke on, Coach Elliott and staff. What made Garner Webb the right fit for you in your recruiting process?
Dude, they were so funny story. I was verbally committed to Pembroke actually.
Oh
Like,
wow, yeah.
yeah, I was gonna go D2. Like, I was fine with that. Like, I was like, yeah, I'm a D2. I don't think I didn't think I was a D1 athlete. Like, I didn't have a lot of confidence coming out of high school, especially after I had just lost my second state finals in a row. Like, I got second twice in a row, junior and senior year. So I'm like, all right, well, fine with me. Now I'll go D2, whatever. And then Scott Mattingly reached out to me on Twitter, and then I had a visit to Gardner Webb. And they were a D1 school, and I mean, really, what it boiled down to was money. Like they were a D1
Absolutely.
school, and they offered a good amount, and I was like, well, Pembroke
Right.
D2 or D1 Gardner Webb, right? So I took the leap of faith, and then I went D1, went to Gardner Webb, even when I didn't think I was a D1 athlete. I went, and then I became a D1 athlete. So,
Right.
yeah, that was pretty much the big hand and the or deciding factor of me going to Gardner Webb for sure.
Yeah, speaking on that Southern Scuffle finals match, you got that last second takedown. Just what did that do for you, and just how does that help build your confidence, going in the postseason, NCAAs, all that kind of stuff?
Late shots. Anderson in on the single leg on the right side. 19 seconds. He got plenty of time to work. Elevates. Not trying to finish on the mat. Trying to finish here up from his feet. Anderson looking to trip. And he's going to get it. Yeah.
Bro, a lot. So many things was crazy about that tournament because that tournament was literally just me in flow state the entire time. Like I was just flowing the entire tournament. Even in my quarterfinals match, I had to wrestle a Stanford kid that I had beat the year before, but I had beat him by like a takedown. So I knew it was going to be a close match going into it, but I knew we were going to have to get after it for the most part. Like no one was probably going to score a takedown. I was fine with that. I was like, whatever. So got into that match, flowed through that, went into like sudden victory over, went into Ultimate Rideout. And I knew that I could get out on bottom, and I knew I'd be able to hold him a lot longer than he would hold me. Won that match, went to the semifinals, had to wrestle Oklahoma, Giuseppe Hoos. Um, I knew he was pretty much like a hand fight guy. Like he was gonna pressure forward, pressure
Tough.
forward, pressure forward. And I knew that was gonna work in my favor. I was like, all right, he's gonna pressure forward. Disappear double's gonna come eventually.
Oh
Don't
yeah.
don't know when, but it's gonna open up eventually. Right. It just so happened to open up in the third, got that, and then that flows right into the finals. Yeah, next thing you know, I'm in the finals, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm in
Yeah.
the finals of
Yeah.
the Southern Scuffle." I was like, "What is going on?" Right, and then Elliot's in my ear the whole time, and he's like, he's like the last person to place the highest for Gardner Webb. You know who that is, right? And I'm like, "No, who placed the highest before?" He's like, "Me." Right. I'm like, "Dang,
Yeah.
what place?" And he told me he got third place back in 2005, 2006.
Gotcha.
So I was like, okay, yeah, yeah. So once I made the finals, I was like, all right, well, I just broke a record now,
Yeah.
but now I gotta,
Go
you know,
extend it.
I gotta win it. Yeah, I gotta win it. So that's trouble I've had in like every single big moment I've been in, right? State finals, never won it. Conference finals, never won it, right? So I'm like, all right, this is an opportunity to get a win in the finals, right? So, yeah, I get into that match. Very cautious match, man. Very cautious. Um, Played it right, got to the third period. We're both gassed. He reached, went for the single, got it, finished the takedown. We went out of bounds. It was like 3 seconds left. I was like, I knew I iced it. Knew I iced it. It was funny too because my teammates when we went to go grab food right during the break before the finals, they were like, dude, what's gonna be the celly when you win? And I was like,
Yeah.
hmm. I said, dude, I'm thinking of like doing like a little arrow thing if I win, like just pulling the arrow out and just boom, shooting it. And then as soon as I won, I was like, I just pulled out the arrow, boom, shot it, and I was like,
Alex
oh,
Pereira.
yeah, exactly, exactly,
Yeah.
Alex Pereira, man. And then I didn't know how cold it looked until I saw the
The
video
flow.
after. Yeah, I didn't see the video till like another 30 minutes or an hour after, and I was like, yo, that looks sick. So,
Tough. Yeah.
but yeah, it boosted my confidence up for the rest of the season. Going into postseason, I was ready to go, bro. I was fired up.
Speaking on that double, what's your secret sauce on it? I mean, I guess drilling, but you got any like I guess tidbits that just make it so effective?
Yeah, man. I like to pick people up. That is what I like to do because I like to finish clean. I think it is really hard to scramble when you are in the air. So I like to shoot my
Absolutely.
double, and if I can pick you up, I am going to absolutely take your feet off the ground. And then I don't want to set you down gently. Pretty much most of my doubles, if you've seen them, usually I'm dropping them to the ground. Sometimes, bro, when I slam them to the ground, I hurt myself sometimes. Like I'll like
Yeah.
hit my head. I'm like, dang, dude. But now I'm on top. I'm like, if I'm hurt, I know he's hurting even more. But that was pretty much my sauce, dude. It was like if I can get this guy off his feet, and I knew I was strong enough to do it, but I was like, if I can pick this guy up, get him off his feet, I'm finishing his takedown.
Right.
9 times out of 10.
And your first qualification for NCAAs came in 2021. I believe there was no fans that year. So I guess what was the biggest difference from that experience and then when you qualified the next time having fans?
What happened the first year qualified? Yeah, so ooh, yeah. So I think the biggest difference, like you said, would have been the fans. So my first NCAA tournament, right, it wasn't like I got the real experience,
Yeah,
right? But it was still the national tournament. Like I still got to
absolutely.
see like the best coaches in the world, the best wrestlers in the world. And at this point, I'm 19, right? Mind you, a year before that, I didn't think I was a D1 wrestler. A year later, I'm at the Division 1 national
The
tournament,
dance. Yep.
right? So yeah, like I'm marking out, bro. Like I'm in the weigh-in line and I see Gable Steveson. I'm just a high schooler at this point in my head. I'm like talking to my boy. I'm like, bro, that's Gable, bro. Like, be cool, right? Seeing Spencer Lee, seeing RBY, because like a year or two before that, I was just watching those guys on TV. So to see them and be in the same room, like for that did a lot for my confidence to know I belong there, right? But yeah, the biggest difference had to be crowd. Because the second time I went, next thing you know, a it is a bunch. It's fired up. It is fired up the second time I went. And honestly, I think the second time I went was that year that Spencer Lee got pinned by Matt
Oh wow.
Ramos. So like the crowd just roared, bro. Like it was the arena was shaking around that time. And the first time you can't match that energy. Like it was a crazy energy.
But that 21 season was really just kind of weird with a shortened season. How did you kind of navigate, just your training and being prepared? Just kind of, I mean, I'm sure the practice schedule is kind of weird, stuff like that.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie, I like that season a lot better than any other season. I personally feel like I wouldn't have mind a shorter season. I think a shorter season minimizes risk for injury, right?
Absolutely.
Because wrestling is such a like head down and grind type of sport. Like we're going preseason from October all the way to March, bro. Like by the time you get to March, I used to tell everyone this. There's no such thing as like a healthy season. Like by the time you get to March, everybody's got something that they're dealing with, something even if they're trying to hide it. Like there's something that everyone is dealing with. And I'm like, damn, man, if we could just after that 2021 season, I was like, if we could just minimize the season, man, we would minimize so much risk for injury, so much of it. Um, but yeah, I definitely feel like we can minimize risk for injury if we shorten the season there. But what were we talking about there?
Just kind of like, how did you navigate that season? Because, it was shortened and it's just kind of a
That's
weird time
right.
coming out of
That's
COVID,
right.
you know?
So that year, I had broke my jaw actually. So I broke my jaw at practice in around Thanksgiving time. Um, so I was out. I was out pretty much the preseason portion of that season, although that season didn't start on time.
Right.
But I was out pretty much until January. So mind you, that season started in January. Although my jaw was broken, I was still you're still able to work out. Like you can't it's not like you can't work out with your jaw broken. Like that didn't affect my arms or my legs. So I was still like going hard. Like if my boys had a hard practice, I had a hard practice. Like I was on top of the treadmill doing sprint matches. If they had like
Right.
a light practice, like I had a light practice, then I would be doing probably like a couple of miles or two on the treadmill. Then I would head down and do like some type of jump ropes or whatever. But I tried my best to stay in shape because I knew that once I got my jaws on wired, that it was going to be my time to come back and start. So, um, my jaws, I got them on wired first week of January. The first dual meet was like the second or third week of January, and they wanted to start me. So I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm glad I'm ready for it. Like I'm in shape. So, we had a tri meet duel that day. It was us versus Chattanooga versus Citadel. Chattanooga had Matt Waddell, who was ranked like 27th in the country at the time. Mind you, I had never started at this point ever. So Coach
Right.
Elliott was like, hey man, we're not gonna put you out for the Chattanooga duel. He's like, but we're gonna send you out for the Citadel duel. So I'm like, okay, cool. Sat for the Chattanooga duel, and then once Citadel came around, I had to wrestle this guy named Kyle Kretzer. Which funny story, I knew Kyle because we wrestled on the same Jazztown team back in high school. So Kyle used to whoop my tail bad. So when we're gonna wrestle Citadel, in my head, I'm like, dang, this dude used to whoop my butt in high school. I was like, this is gonna be a tough match. Get out there, I have my first start. Dude, I think I beat him like 7-2. I whooped his tail. It was crazy. And
Yeah.
yeah, like after that, I had like a realization. I was like, dude, either I'm getting better at wrestling or these guys are getting worse. Or both, right?
Right.
So I was super hype after that. And then yeah, after that I just kept rolling throughout the season. Throughout the season, it was just like more wins just started picking up here and there, right? We went to go wrestle App and Campbell in another try meet the next week. And App and Campbell are the top at this point, they're top of the SoCon. I'm wrestling the App kid. At this point, everyone that I wrestled, they had no idea who I was, right? So App and Campbell being the big dogs, right? They come out, they see this new 84 pounder. They just thought like it was going to be a breeze. The app guy did at least. He came out swinging,
Yeah,
swinging, but he couldn't get any takedowns. And I could see it was frustrating him. And then I got like two takedowns on him, and I ended up beating him pretty bad. And I tilted him too. I got a turn. That
yeah,
was yeah, that was crazy within itself. Beat him, and then I wrestled Campbell, and then I got cradled in like the first like by the second period. I got cradled by Campbell, and that started off the entire like series with me and Caleb Hopkins. Which honestly, it wasn't a series because I'm like 0-7 against him. But
right.
yeah, kind of just flew throughout the season there and just went through there. We went to conference. Conference happened that year. I had to wrestle VMI, I think, first round. And then I wrestled Chattanooga, lost to Waddell. And then I ended up wrestling back for third. And
Yeah,
somehow got at large.
speaking into college sports, what's your thoughts on the transfer portal and kind of all this NIL and just how it's changing the sport?
The transfer portal is crazy, bro. Especially after like this past year, especially in the wrestling world, everyone like entered the transfer portal. But I mean, shoot, dude, I think it's a good opportunity for these kids to get paid and make money
Absolutely.
off their name, especially for these schools that are like offering the money, dude. Like
Right.
there are donors that are offering these kids like six-figure deals. This can change your life now at some point. Like this
Absolutely.
sport wasn't that before. Like this sport was okay, we're gonna get into the sport so we can get the school paid for, and then after that, we gotta find a profession or we go Olympic wrestling. Right? There was like no in between after that. And there was no money to be made. But now there is opportunity for guys to make money. And I am for that. I am so for that. Me personally, there was no way I could have like transferred anywhere. Like I had such a loyalty to Daniel Elliott and to Gardner Webb as a program that there was no way I could have saw myself transferring. And then also it's illegal for other schools to talk to you like while you're at a school unless you're in the portal. And
Right.
I wasn't gonna get the portal. But yeah, man, I think it's a good opportunity for kids to get paid in this sport now.
Yeah, absolutely. My biggest thing on it, I think there just needs to be like a 2-year contract or something. That way you're just not hopping a new team every year. That's kind of my thing with it. But
I agree. I agree. Yeah, there needs to be some type of like regulation on it for sure. Because like you said, there are, and you can kind of see it now, like the kids that are like kind of going from team to team to team to team to team, and they're getting different deals every year, and it's like, dude, just maxing out the options here.
yeah,
Um, yeah, like you said, it needs to be some sort of regulation on it. But I'm all for kids getting their money though, man. Get your
absolutely.
money for sure. This sport is hard enough. Make some money while you're doing it.
The new NCAA roster limits, I think it's 30 guys per team. What's your thoughts on this and how kind of it's for the D1 level, but how it impacts D1 wrestling?
Yeah, I'm not too like well versed on that. I did see that the roster limit is 30 now. I I think that might help out. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that might help out some of the smaller schools more. It
Yeah, for sure.
might. Because okay, roster cap, say a big school like Penn State or something. You know how many guys are backups at Penn State that can be the guy at a smaller school, right?
Absolutely.
So now they're getting forced out because hey, this roster cap is at 30. We technically don't need you on this team, right? We got Aaron Brooks here, right? Or we got Levi Haynes here. Right? We need more. We don't need the space. Right. So now where does that force those guys to go? You either stop wrestling or you go to a smaller Division 1 school and you be the guy there. Right.
Absolutely.
But what sucks on that part for the smaller D1s is that okay, now you got to force some of your guys out too. Right. That are some of your loyal guys that have been at that program forever. That might not be the guy at your school, but like, they're putting in the time, they're putting in the work. But at the same time, the better guys are the ones that are getting the results, right? So you got to get those guys in.
Yeah, I know you are, doing pro wrestling now. I know you did like an alumni match last year. Is there any, I know all these new wrestling cards are coming up. Would you ever potentially come back for a one-off or anything like that?
No, no, I wasn't even supposed to be there for the alumni match
Yeah,
last year. Uh, yeah, that just kind of happened. Hunter Gamble wanted to get a match in. Daniel was for it, and I was like, you know what? Sure, I'll do it. But
Yeah.
no, I am retired, brother. I did think about entering the draft for the Claw League, if you
Yeah.
heard of
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Tons
that.
of guys are in that.
I thought about that, but then I was like, I didn't know how much that would mess with my professional wrestling schedule.
Absolutely.
And then at the same time, there were so many questions I had about it. I'm like, okay, if you make the team though, like, is there like a training schedule? Do you meet up somewhere? Do you have to make weight? How much are you getting paid? Like, there were so many questions I had. Like what? Like, how would this affect the work schedule? I had no idea. So I was just like, I'm just gonna leave that alone for now. Um, Maybe in the future, there could be an opportunity for that if I'm not where I want to be in professional wrestling in a couple of years. There could be an opportunity for that, but for now, brother, I'm
Shoes are
done.
in the middle of the mat.
Yeah, man, Dunzo.
Absolutely. As we kind of wrap up your college career, what's one of your fondest memories of your time wrestling in college, whether it's NCAAs or just being around the team in general?
I would definitely say NCAA's my last year was my fondest. It's a hard toss up between that and the Southern Scuffle, right? Because the Southern Scuffle was one of the first things that I've ever won. Like actually won, right? Like I've got some notable wins, but like winning a tournament is something that I haven't been able to do, and it was something that I did. So that was a really fond memory. But I would also say being at the national tournament my last year and then making it to the second day was something that I was like I got on a run and I was like, I could All American. Like I could be the first
Absolutely.
All-American for Gardner Webb. Like that started coming to my mind because I'm not gonna lie, the first 2 years I went to the national tournament, it was kind of just like, I'm happy to be here. Right.
Right.
But my last year there, it was no longer, I'm happy to be here. It was, I can make a run of this. I can All-American.
Absolutely.
Right. So I would say, definitely say my last year at NCAA's making to day two was like a very fond memory. That's something I will never forget.
Yeah, looking ahead, what's your upcoming goals for, I guess, your pro wrestling career and just your, career pathways in general?
Yeah, man. So ideally, ideally after, once I get the call from WWE here, um, ideally they offer me a developmental contract and I'm in Orlando, Florida, and I'm
Right.
with them at NXT. That's ideally. If it doesn't go my way, I'm gonna still continue to do independent wrestling shows around here. Um, Continue to build my name up, continue to build a fan base, continue to do these things. And I'm still gonna be strength coaching. I'm a strength and conditioning coach at Architect Sports right now. Still gonna continue to do that. And I'm still gonna continue to coach at Core. So those are pretty much the things for now. My end goal is to be in the WWE. Like that's the
Absolutely.
number one goal right now. Like obviously I want to further myself in the strength and conditioning field, do some bigger things, but in end all be all, WWE is the route to go.
Absolutely. As we wrap up, is there any like upcoming shows or anything like that you could promote, kind of your social medias, and I guess any kind of, wrap up message to any of your fans who may be watching?
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that. I have a match this Saturday in Denver, North Carolina versus the Dante Khalifa. That will be in Denver, North Carolina, like I said. I'm not sure. Let's see what else, what else. And I have another match August 31st. That will be in North Carolina as well, but I'm not sure where that'll be. But yes, come out Saturday to Denver, North Carolina to watch me take on D Dante Khalifa for the Evolution Heavyweight Championship.
Absolutely. Well, Jaquan, thanks for coming on and best of luck with everything you got going on. And thanks for coming on the show.
Bro, thank you for having me, brother.